Welcome back to another episode of Futureproof. As you know, in this podcast, I focus on speaking with executives that are really focused on transformation and change throughout their career. I'm extremely excited today to introduce this guest, somebody that's led a number of leading businesses and now the CEO of Varroc Lighting Systems. So I'll pass over to you, Stephane, to introduce yourself.
Hi, Taylor. Yes, I'm Stephane Vedie. I've been with this industry, the automotive industry, for 24 years. Born and raised in France. I'm living in the US now. I started my career at Valeo, spent 8 years with Valeo. Then I spent 12 years with Morelli. And now I've been more than 4 years with Varroc Lighting Systems. Living in the US, I've been spending 13 years in the US, 7 years in Czech Republic, worked more than 2 years in Germany and 2 years in France. So for being born in France, I just work only 2 years in France.
Okay, no, and that's something that was surprising to me, Stefan. Even when I looked into obviously your background and see that the time at Valeo, for instance, and that was within the Czech Republic. That was a question I was going to ask for you as well. Kind of how much time have you spent in France, and what was the reasons for you kind of stepping out?
I think I had the chance to work for great organizations, global companies that gave me the opportunity to work abroad. And I think as a young graduate, a young engineer at that time, that's an opportunity I decided to seize, And I think being abroad, being outside of your comfort zone, far away from your family, your friends, your connection, this is where you have the most opportunities to grow, the most opportunities to learn new things, And I'm glad I did. I learned new languages and learned new cultures, met new people. Absolutely, that was the right thing to do for me.
Okay, perfect. And Stefan, with all my guests that I have on the show, I rewind it back to the start. And one question I always asked is, what attracted you to get into automotive?
I don't know if I was attracted to automotive, but I grew up with my mother. She was a single mother, and as soon as I could work, 16 years old, 17 years old, I worked in the local manufacturing plant in my small town, and I work all summer, make a little money to pay for my college, and make a little money to help her. And this attracted me more to the manufacturing business. I enjoy working in a plant. I was working on the line, on the machines. It was a foundry, very difficult environment. I was working from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I was in much better shape, very physical, and I learned. I like the team spirit. I like to deal with the guys in the manufacturing environment. So this is how I learned to appreciate manufacturing. So my idea was to join a manufacturing company, and the first internship I had the chance to do was with Valeo. And I thought that was a great company. So from an intern, I became an employee, and this is how I joined the automotive industry. So I cannot say I was born with the idea of joining this industry. I cannot say that my family or anybody was within the industry. I think this is a matter of opportunities, and this is what I'm always saying to the young students. The choices you are making while choosing an internship, it can impact your whole life, So be careful and make sure you choose well,
Okay, and then if we're looking at the Valeo aspect, as mentioned, you kind of grew through the ranks there and stepped into purchasing, should we say, Czech base. So what was that like, coming from France into the Czech Republic and then in a leading kind of purchasing function?
I had 2 master degrees, and my last master degree was in purchasing. And purchasing at that time, we speak about the 90s, was not a very popular function. So we're starting to build, purchasing functions. So when you were a smart guy, you usually went to sales, and when you were not so smart, you went to purchasing. So I thought that in the kingdom of the blinds, the guys with one eye, would have more opportunities, and this worked out for me, So I was the first buyer in one of the Valeo plant in Czech Republic. I was the first guy, So I had plenty of opportunities, and I took advantage of this, and we had great results. And after 3 years in Czech Republic, Valeo offered me the opportunity to move and work in the US, and US was always intriguing to me. It was always attractive to me, and I took this chance. I moved. And in the US, I was the youngest member of the purchasing team at the time in the plant where I was in Ohio. And when the purchasing manager moved, I had the opportunity offered to me. So I became the boss of my colleagues at the age of my parents. That was an interesting experience for me, but it worked out very well, and I'm thankful for the opportunity, So I became a manager very early in my career. I think I was maybe 26, if I remember, something like this. Manager in a different country, manager in the US, and was all about delivering, And I think I had the chance to work for companies that we're not looking at how old you were. We're not looking at how long you have been with the company. We're just looking at what are the performance that you are delivering. What are you committed? Are you meeting the targets? And that was the case. And I had the chance. I took it.
Okay. And Stephane, on that, as you mentioned, kind of them being responsible for your peers at one point that were a lot older than you. Being a young manager, how do you deal with that? How do you go from kind of colleague to boss and still keep that relationship?
Yeah, it's not something that you learn at school. You learn, from the experience. I played a lot of sports when I was young. I think we have this in common. We are retired football players, both of us. But I was usually the young guy in the team, so playing with older guys, and this is a skill that that I've developed maybe in the locker rooms or something, at some point. But you always treat people with respect. It's not because you are the boss from one day to another that you're gonna treat them differently. You are always very transparent in your communication. You say the things when they are good. You say the things when they are bad. I think feedback is very important. You provide your feedback without emotion. You stick to the facts, to the data, and you help the people. When they are in difficulties, you step in and you help. You're not pointing the fingers. You're just trying to succeed as a team. So I really very often can say, we win together or we lose together. I think in this industry, especially, it's all about the team. It's not really about the individuals.
Okay. And within Vallejo, was that the first experience of lighting, or was that the first experience in lighting when you stepped into automotive lighting?
No, actually, when I was in Vallejo, I was in the thermal system business. So I was doing climate controls, air conditioning for cars. My first experience with lighting was with automotive lighting with Magneti Marelli when I joined in 2005. And great products, it's great to be in lighting, and since then I've not really moved away from lighting. You take pride when you see the cars on the road, when you see the products, they are really becoming the jewelry of the cars, and you see sometimes the commercials from the car manufacturers, they just show the lamps, they don't show even the lines of the cars, and I use when my daughters were very young, I used to show them the lights, and they were able to recognize the brand of the cars just by looking at the lights. So I think this is really an interesting product.
Okay, and then even in that, from automotive lighting, stepped up through the ranks there into leading their North American business for AL, and then into the NAFTA role. Was that across the whole of the Morelli product portfolio?
Yes, that's right. When I moved to the US for automotive lighting, Magneti Marelli in 2011, I was in charge only of one business line, was automotive lighting for the region, and I had the opportunity to take over the full region, all the business lines together back in 2013, if I remember. I started in automotive lighting in Morelli in purchasing. I became very quickly the global vice president of purchasing for the automotive lighting business line. That was the biggest business line of Morelli. And one day, my boss was, I think, the Christmas 2008, called me in Italy, and he told me, "Stephane, you're French." I said, "Yeah, sorry, nobody is perfect." And he said, "I'm tired of the French." So I said, "Oh, I didn't know where it's going to go, And he said, "We have lots of issues in France. We're losing a lot of money. The operations are not under control. You go there and you fix it." I say, "Hey, I'm a purchasing guy. I don't know if I know how to do this, I've never done this before." His answer was, "It cannot be worse than what it is right now. You go, you fix it." And I went there. I moved back to France finally. And that was a great experience, a turnaround experience. 2008, 2009, if you remember, the industry was really facing a huge crisis. We had enough work to run the plants only 3 days a week. And we built a great team, and we addressed every line of the P&L, the top line, the customers, the material line, the purchasing, and all the industrial efficiencies. And we had to restructure, unfortunately, and I had to sell one plant and reduce some headcounts. But working with the unions was a good experience. And until now, I think I have still good connection with them. We did very tough things, but we did it, I think, in the right way for the people. I sold this one plant that we had in the south of France, in Angoulême, and until now, the plant still exists. Until now, the people that had a job at that time, they still have a job today, and I'm very happy about this, and I'm very proud of this. So that was a great experience working with the team. We managed to reach a break even after 10 months, and then after we hold the break even for 10 months in a row. So that was really a challenge that we didn't know we could be up to, and at the end we succeeded. And I think as far as I know, still today, this entity is still at break even. So that's good.
Okay, and how did you approach that situation? Somebody that's come from purchasing, as you said, stepping in for operational improvements, really focusing on improving profit, getting that plant out of red numbers, so to say. So how did you approach that?
Having the right people at the right position, and being very methodic, putting my P&L on my desk every day and looking at every line, and digging into every line, every cost center, and understanding opportunities for improvement. One thing at that time, Morelli had a multitude of different sites or offices around Paris. I closed everything, put everything in one location in Trappes, which is not the fanciest area of Paris, but that was, I think, very cost effective, and we found good solutions for people too. Disposing on of old assets that we had, rehabilitating on old site, so really attacking every line, every part of the cost structure, and then celebrating every small wins also. I think it's part of the process of turnaround. When you need to create a virtuous cycle, you need to create the energy of the organization. It's not one person that's going to change everything. It's all of us, together. So making sure that every week we are better than the week before, making sure that every month we are better than the month before, making sure that every quarter is better than the quarter before. So that's the process that you need to launch. And when it's launched, the inertia of this process is so powerful, and the sky is the limit.
Okay, and then from obviously being back in France, now back in the US, and since then, again, had, as you mentioned, the AL responsibility, then full NAFTA. Yeah,
so I think after 2 years and a pretty successful result in France, the same boss called me around Christmas again. He told me, Stephane, I'm losing money in North America. We have some issues there, especially in Mexico. You need to go. And I said, okay, I'm going. And at that time, I was much more confident in myself because I had already this little experience in France. I knew how to do. I knew what to do. And I have to say that was even a little easier because the market was clearly in a growth mode at that time. Was 2011. Morelli was part of FCA Group. There was the integration of Chrysler. Chrysler was bringing a lot of additional opportunities in terms of growth, in terms of new businesses. So I think that was much easier at the time. So the same, we became profitable quite fast, and I think the story then became a story of growth. When I started there was there were 2 plants in Mexico. When I left, I think we had something like 6, 7, 8 plants just in lighting. And all the other business line of Morelli were present in North America. I think that was a great story of growth.
Okay. And then obviously stepping across all business lines, being CEO, president of the NAFTA region, and then from there into the position where we are now. So now president and CEO of Varroc Lighting System. So was it a big change stepping up from a NAFTA responsibility into a full-blown CEO role, or was it pretty much similar in the way you operate?
No, I think that was definitely a change. Being in charge of a region, I had certain level of autonomy, but I was part of the executive committee of Morelli, reporting to the CEO of the group. Now I deal with the board of directors of Varroc lighting system. I deal with the chairman, who is also the owner. I have the global responsibility of the company, and I think this is definitely a step up for me. I think at that time this is what I needed, what I wanted, to have the responsibility of a global business. Mr. Tarangem, the owner of Varroc lighting system, reached out to me, and we had a good connection. The company was not doing so good at that time, especially the Mexican operations, and I had the experience of fixing a big Mexican operation already at Morelli, so this is how we started. And the approach was to put the company on a growth trajectory. The approach was really to make it more of a global relevant player in the lighting industry. So in the last 4 years, we have accomplished a lot in Varroc lighting system. We built a small plant initially in Brazil, built a big plant in Morocco, built a big plant on the east part of Poland, close to the Ukrainian border, made an acquisition in Turkey, took the company public in 2018, started our electronic manufacturing also to vertically integrate ourselves. We did this in Romania initially with a joint venture with a partner. Now we took over 100% of this joint venture. So a lot of activities. In the last 4.5 years, we have accomplished a lot of things with the team.
Okay, and obviously now fell in love with lighting. So in terms of that over another product, as you mentioned, it's something that is recognizable, especially if, for instance, you was on a highway, a motorway at nighttime, you can tell the vehicles from the headlighting. So from Varroc's standpoint, what's something that really separates Varroc from other parts of the industry in terms of the lighting business?
So we are not the biggest player. We don't pretend to be a technology leader or the most advanced in terms of technology, but we are a very good, I think, fast follower. And our position is to bring innovation technology to the mass market with cost competitive solution. This is what we do. We bring technology, but at a lower cost. And we have a very clear segments where we play. We play on the main car manufacturers of the market. Our number one customer today is the Volkswagen Group. Ford has always been an important partner. Stellantis, the newly formed company between FCA and PSA, is also very important. JLR is an important partner. So these are the main customers of the company. We play a big part in the penetration of the LED technology also. When you look at the market data, 50% of the vehicles in 2020 had LED content on the front lighting. Still, there is a long way to go. And I think Varroc is one of the most active players to provide low-cost solutions in order to be able to replace halogen technology by low-cost LED solutions. So this is very important, especially for our customers that are European-based. That they have to comply with very stringent CO2 emission targets and regulation. So when a car manufacturer is able to use 100% LED for the front lighting, 100% LED for the rear lighting, they get automatically 1 gram of CO2 per kilometer credit. And this is not negligible. They take everything they can. So this is important to support our customers in this direction. This is important also to support the electric vehicle manufacturers, because the LED systems are the lowest in terms of power consumption. So this is directly impacting the range of the vehicle, the battery range. So this is one of our main focus today. Being in the lighting industry, we're also dealing with a safety-related products. I think we are also in the job of saving lives. Every year, there's still about 1.3, 1.4 million of casualties or death related to car accidents. This is too much, and the majority of them still occur at night. So there is a direct correlation between the quality of lighting and the risk of driving at night and the risk of having casualties. So we have developed technologies like ADB, like Matrix, LED technologies that allow the drivers to drive almost like in daylight situation. You can almost be in high beam all the time, and then we have a system that prevents glaring for the oncoming drivers, the oncoming traffic. So this is also something important that we do in our industry. And then our industry is about style. It's about personalization. We work very closely with the studio of the car manufacturers. We work with the stylists. We define what we call a brand identity, a family feeling. So we have developed our own patented solution, like what we call surface LED, where we provide a very homogeneous lighting for the rear, a signature that it looks a lot like organic LED, but we are able to obtain this with conventional LEDs, and we are able to obtain this at a fraction of a price compared to organic LEDs. So style, it's very important in what we do. Like I said earlier, the lighting is becoming the jewelry of the car. The lighting is helping the car manufacturers to sell vehicles. At the midlife of vehicles, it's pretty common to change, to refresh the front lighting, the rear lighting, to give a new boost to the sales of the vehicles. So. And then more and more lighting is involved in communication. So we project arrows, we project symbols with high definition systems. We have a lot of new features that we can integrate in our products. So very exciting. I'm sorry, I'm maybe speaking too much about this, but I'm passionate about the topics and I could go for hours.
No, it was great to understand exactly where Varroc is and what you guys are passionate about. And I think in terms of that, as you mentioned, with the new technologies and new patents, things can only go one way. But Stephane, what would you say kind of thus far your proudest achievements have been?
I think what we have done in the last 4 years at Varroc, I'm pretty happy about it. We took the company to become, one of the global players. We are number 6 today. When you look at our market share, back in 2016, we were at 4.3%. Now in 2020, we were at 5.6%. Out of the top 6 players, there are only 2 players that grew in a declining market. So one of my commitment to Taron Jain, the owner of Varroc, was I'm going to take the company in the top 100 suppliers to the automotive industry. When we look at the automotive news last year, we made that 99 spot, so we are there, and I think at the next survey, we're going to be a little higher even because we managed to grow even during this difficult period.
Okay, and obviously I know COVID will be one of them, but what would you say the biggest challenges are that you've faced?
Yeah, the last 12 months were pretty hard on all of us in the industry, We've never dealt before with shutting down all the factories from one day to another. I think almost 1 year to the day, I think it was on the 13th of March, we shut down the 17 locations that we have globally, except China. And it's not like a gradual shutdown. It's not like back in 2008, 2009, we had the chance to take care of our variable costs. It was really brutal, And at the same time, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of stress on our people, At the time, we didn't know too much about the virus. We didn't know, the potential risk that we were facing, all of us, our families, our loved ones, So we had to deal with this stress. We had to deal also with the financial stress of getting zero revenue, from one day to another, and not knowing when the industry will restart, not knowing at what volume the industry will restart, So I don't think I've ever worked that hard in the last 12 months, And I look 10 years older after 12 months, but I'm not that old.
Okay, and Stephane, in terms of kind of then transformations, you've been involved in numerous. What would you say that the key aspects are to a successful transformation?
I think it's about people having the right leaders at the right position. I think you have helped us a lot in the past years, and this is very important for us to build a strong leadership team. We are always looking for the best person we can find, for a given position. We never settle for mediocrity, and we believe a lot into diversity. This is maybe something I'm proud of, is the team we have built, as a leadership team of Varroc lighting system. You see male, females, you see people from different race, different religions, different locations. I think this is one of our strengths. I believe a lot in order to drive, to lead a global organization, you cannot be only in one location in the world. We are not all located in the same office somewhere in the world. We are spread out along our footprint, and I think this is very important, especially during this crisis. When the travel were very limited or very difficult, we still have some strong leaders in every regions able to relay the message, able to take care of the people, able to take care of the business, able to take care of our customers.
Okay, and in terms of the automotive industry as a whole, I know we touched on the COVID situation, but what's your kind of opinion on the current state of the industry?
I think this is very exciting to be in the automotive industry in the last few years, and the years ahead are even more exciting. So we've seen some what we call the mega trends of connectivity, autonomous driving, shared mobility, electrification, and I think it's becoming a little clearer what's happening, what's not happening. And personally, the strongest trend it's the electrification. I was reading, I think, a communication from the Volkswagen Group a few days ago stating by 2030, 70% of the vehicles that Volkswagen Group will sell in Europe will be electric vehicles. 50% of the vehicles that they will sell in North America and in China will be electric vehicles. So it's really happening. It's there, it's coming. For sure, I think one of the motivation of the people to buy an electric vehicle is to be doing something good for the environment. I think more and more people are becoming mindful of this. But if you drive an electric vehicle, this is really fun, and this is, I think, the reason why the penetration is going maybe faster than what we thought. I don't know. I had the chance to drive a Tesla Model S, a Porsche Taycan, and a Mustang Mach-E. I'm a car guy. I love cars, and when I can put my hands on the steering wheels, I do. And when you press the accelerator, this is amazing, the torque that you get. You get stuck on your seat. And this is really fun to drive. And I think this is the reason why we're gonna see this penetrate even more and more. And so now it's about the infrastructure. It's about making it affordable. It's about making sure that we have enough batteries. But this is coming. About shared mobility, I'm a little more skeptic. Especially looking at the last 12 months, looking at this global pandemic. As soon as China was able to put the virus under control, people wanted to resume their normal life. We saw that many of them that could afford it didn't want anymore to be using public transportation, didn't want to be anymore in contact with this with the mass and potentially some viruses. And we saw a very big increase in the demand in terms of personal mobility, in terms of buying new vehicles, new cars. And I think this is something that we are seeing also in the rest of the world right now. So we need to make the vehicles and the cars affordable, but I think this pandemic is slowing down significantly the shared mobility. And personally, I have my 16-year-old daughter. She just got a permit, and she's driving with me right now to get her license. And she loves driving. She enjoys it, and this gives me hope. That means it's not true that the young people don't like driving or don't want to drive. At least I have a good example. She was raised in Detroit, so maybe this is biased, but she loves driving. So as long as we make attractive products, as long as we make products that are fun to drive, I think I don't see a big decline of this industry.
Okay, and as you just mentioned, as a car enthusiast, the torque you can get from electric vehicle, do you think then this is something where over the next 20, 25 years that the petrol or diesel engine will just continue to get phased out until it's obsolete? Or do you think there'll always be a market for that sort of vehicle?
I think it's going to phase out, but we need to deal with the range anyway, especially when I look at the North American market. here the distance are really important. Friends or neighbors, they say, okay, I'm going to go to Florida, and they jump in their car and they drive 17 hours. So this is not, you need to keep this in mind. I think we're going to see at least hybrid technologies. I think this is more the way forward for the ICE engine to be more towards hybrid.
Okay, and even on that, if we're looking at the US, there's parts of the US that are very heavily involved in truck, for instance. So if the power, for instance, trucks, etc., for those long distances or even off-roading, the infrastructure, the batteries at the moment would have to be so large. So I think from an infrastructure standpoint, I see things increasing, even from us being in the market every day, having conversations. It's increasing a lot quicker than we thought, but it'll be interesting to see just how long that takes.
No, I agree with you, but there will be also some technology breakthrough, some solar panel on the roof of your car or something that will directly feed the battery. I think the technology is only at the beginning.
Okay, and so in terms of you guys, then, if we're looking at this podcast, Futureproof, from a lighting standpoint, whether the car's electric, got an ICE engine, or it's diesel, they're all going to need lighting. So where do you see lighting going moving forward? What's the evolution of lighting?
Now we see that the OEMs are spending more and more money on lighting functions. They see that this is helping sell the vehicles. We see also that even for autonomous cars, at some point you still need good lighting in order for the cameras to work in an optimum setup, in an optimum environment. So we feel pretty good to be on this technology, on this part of the industry. To future-proof the business, you are never fully future-proof. I think you need always to keep a lot of humility, and understand that anything can happen. But we are making sure we have the right technologies, that we have the right portfolio of customers, that we have the right footprint. We made the right investment in terms of capacity. So and we are financially sound. So with this and a good leadership team, I think we can travel the distance.
Okay. And then on the note of the industry then, and we're looking at kind of, as you mentioned, diversity, etc., and really focusing on executives that focus on turnarounds. What would you say from your point of view is the kind of DNA of an executive that focuses on turnarounds or transformations? What sort of DNA do they need to come from?
I don't know if we can speak about DNA, but I believe in structure, in methodology. I believe in being able to create this team spirit and get the most of the people around you. Again, one person is not going to be able to turn around anything. You need a team. You need to empower the full organization. So it's about making sure that you get the most of the people around you, and you work in a very committed, dedicated way. And you only fail when you stop trying. That's always what I have in mind. So as long as I don't stop, I'm still going. And that's the spirit.
Okay, and now obviously coming out of, or we're not sure, but it looks like we're coming out of the actual COVID aspect in terms of vaccines being rolled out. What do you see the future of the industry being like?
We are an Indian-owned company. We are publicly traded in Mumbai Stock Exchange, and I believe India is still untapped potential for the industry. India is very strong on the two-wheeler business, on the motorcycle, but I think there's still very little cars being produced, being sold there compared to the opportunity with the population there. So this is one of the area I think there is where we see potential growth. There is still a big upside in China as well. So we have some markets that are, I think mature, like Europe, like North America, but still in emerging countries like India, like China, and other areas, we see opportunities for growth. So we still see the global market going up. Maybe not at the pace of double digit, but definitely a single digit growth coming in the next years. I'm pretty confident about this, and I'm pretty bullish about the automotive industry. And then it's all about technology, about making the products fun, making the products affordable, and so I'm pretty confident about that.
Okay. And do you think moving forward now, obviously we've touched base on the electric side of the business, there's hydrogen power. Do you think there's other technologies that will come up to rival the likes of the electric vehicle, or do you think that's pretty much where we'll be moving forward?
No, for sure, hydrogen is it's very serious. I think very serious in Asia, in Japan. It's very clean also, because with electric vehicles, it's a clean way to power the vehicles as long as the electricity is produced in a clean way. When you look at a country like France, it's nuclear energy, it's pretty clean. When you look at a country like China, for example, most of the electricity is produced out of coal. So I think when you look at the carbon footprint of an electric vehicle in China, it may be worse than a diesel car. So this is also the thing that we need to address for sure.
Okay, and for you then, if we're looking back to what you set out, as you mentioned, especially from a Varroc standpoint, wanting to get into the top 100 suppliers there now, what else do you think what else have you set yourself to achieve from a Varroc standpoint moving forward, or for the whole entire business?
No, right now, being publicly traded, we need to take a good care also of our investors, of the shareholders. So we are very focused on what we call return on capital employed. So we went through an important capex cycle. Now it's about using and maximizing the utilization of the investment that we've made in the past years. So that's really what we are focusing on, what we are obsessed with right now. Getting the maximum rentability of our business.
Okay, and for you then, obviously, going through the positions you have, how busy you are, kind of what does job satisfaction look like for you, and how do you achieve that kind of work-life balance, so to say?
Job satisfactions, it's not always the big thing. I spoke about our ROCE or our share price. For sure, this is what I look the first thing in the morning. But for me, the job satisfaction is it's a lot also. Receiving a nice email from a customer saying, "Hey, thank you, you really helped us on this." The job satisfaction is going to the plant and seeing the improvement from my last visit to the new visit. Going to the plant and seeing people with a smile, going to a plant and seeing people that take pride in showing or showcasing the improvement that they were able to implement. These are all these small steps that make me happy, and I love the job that I'm doing. In terms of work-life balance, I think I have some work to do on myself. I may not be the model. I'm not claiming I'm a model on this. I have young kids. May not spend all the time I should spend with them, but at least I'm focusing a lot on spending quality times with them. Building memories. Doing things that are fun, that they will remember. Before COVID, we went to a lot of concerts, and right now we are driving together a lot, and this is what I'm trying to do. And I'm going to continue to work on this and get better.
Okay, Stephane, earlier in the conversation, we spoke about you starting on the line, on the shop floor, and slowly building yourself up now to CEO of a global business. So what advice would you give to somebody, or what would they need to do to be able to emulate a career progression or career path like you have? What are the key elements?
First, I think you get what you work for, not what you wish for. So if you think it's going to fall from the sky, then you mislead yourself. Second, the character is it's important, and you grow as an individual, as a leader, when you face adversity. So if you don't take yourself out of your comfort zone, if you don't put yourself in danger, if you don't put yourself at risk, you are not going to grow as fast, or you are not going to grow as much. So I think these are the main things I have in mind. And always work with humility. The role I'm trying to follow is when everything is good, when we are at the top, enjoy it, but know that you're going to go down. And when you are down, know it's not going to last, and think about the better times that are in front of you. I've been in this industry for only 24 years, so I still have a lot, in front of me, and a lot to learn. But I think this perspective that is important to keep. Keep the humility and know that it's always a cycle. So.
Okay, yeah, and someone that's been through so many transformations and kind of restructures, what would you say the key aspects are to any successful leadership team?
I believe a lot in diversity. If you are all from the same mold, then you will miss something. And I'm trying to surround myself with strong personalities. I'm trying to surround myself with people that don't necessarily agree with everything I'm saying or I do. I think it's very healthy to be challenged. Inside our team, it's important for me that we hear every voice, we hear everyone, we take decisions together. But very important for me is once the decision has been taken, then everyone must be behind. You can maybe disagree, but you need to support, you need to follow, you need to, So that would be my take on this.
Okay, and so we mentioned kind of somebody that wants to emulate your career path and get to where you have. But if you look at through your career, you worked at some of the largest automotive suppliers globally. Who would you say has inspired you most throughout your career?
I think, being a young guy going in this industry, you look up always at the top of the house. So when I joined Valeo back in '97, Noël Goutard was still the CEO at the time, and you're too young maybe to know Mr. Goutard, but was a very charismatic leader, and I think I always try to follow what he was saying, and I was reading the articles he was writing, and that was a model. And when I was with Morelli later, Morelli was part of FCA Group, and Sergio Marchion was the CEO. And from him, I really got the meritocracy part. Make sure that the people that deserve it grow up in the company, and doesn't matter their gender, doesn't matter their seniority, doesn't matter their age. Trust the people that deliver, trust the people that perform, and so these were, great leaders I was looking up to. And right now I'm dealing with the board of Varroc lighting system. We have some external independent advisors, especially two gentlemen that are now retired from the industry, but that are bringing a wealth of knowledge to me. One is Mark Sulevich, he's a former, Valeo Plastic Omnium top executive. The other one is Eugenio Razzelli, he's the former CEO of Magneti Marelli, and these two guys, they when everything goes well, they know how to challenge me, and when we face difficulties, they know how to support me. And I appreciate this relationship. I appreciate the experience that they bring, and I'm glad with the setup that we have.
Okay, and what would your advice be for somebody starting out in the industry? What kind of advice would you give to someone if they was brand new to the industry and wanting to make a successful career?
Never stop learning, be curious, ask questions. If the door is closed, try to open the window, knock at every door you can. You never bother, ask questions, go to speak with your boss, the boss of your boss, the boss of your boss of your boss, and challenge the status quo, and challenge the don't repeat the same way of doing things. If you have an idea, bring it, and do it, improve, and put yourself outside of your comfort zone. I think this has been the key for me, and I will continue to do so, I think.
Okay, and Stephane, one question that I do ask all guests that I have on the podcast before we wrap up is, what do you want the legacy of Stephane Vedie to look like?
Hey, Taylor, I'm too young to speak about the legacy. I'm 47. So, until now, I think I want to give hope to all the young guys, that grew up with not much, like me. I was growing up in a project type of place. If you are not worse than anybody, with the right drive, with the right motivation, with the right will, you can achieve anything, and I never thought I would be in this position where I am right now, but I never gave up, and I never gave up trying. I never gave up working hard on this, And so it's not a legacy, but I think I want to give hope, and I want to give the example that this is possible.
No, well, Stephane, from even just having an overview of your career, especially the situation in Varroc now, I think it would be nothing but good things. But Stephane, I've enjoyed the conversation today. I think it was extremely insightful to understand more regarding you, where Varroc is as well, and kind of your outlook on the industry.